Hello besties and welcome to another Genshin theory! This has been a topic I've been working on for a long time, but I never thought I had enough to make a whole video about it. My girlfriend and I have been really focusing on this theory lately though, and now that we've come up with some new stuff, I feel ready to share a full theory with you guys. I've mentioned that Venti seems to stand out from the rest of the Archons plenty of times in the past. Let's do a quick lightning round of instances where Venti is separated or different from the other Archons. In A's voice line about him, she actually calls him Venti, but in her voice line about Zhongli, she calls him Morax. It would make more sense for her to call Venti Barbados since they're both Archons and they should know each other by those names before any others. Venti didn't have complete control over Mondstadt at first. He shared it with the God of Time, who has since disappeared from Teyvat. No one seems to know anything about the God of Time ever existing in the first place. The Abyss Order singles Barbados out. When they stole the statue of the Seven, it was one of Barbados. The domain where we found the statue was in Liyue, yet they went out of their way to take one from Mondstadt. Kaya says I triumph over you and Hilichurli into Venti. Zhongli is also an Archon pretending to be a normal person, but has never had any interactions with real humans like that. Venti disappeared from Teyvat's history for a long time until the Cataclysm. Venti's Gnosis is the queen chess piece, the most powerful one, yet Venti is seen as the weakest Archon. So something is clearly up with Venti. I've spoken about this before in my Conria series and my video where I theorized that Venti may be the God of Time instead of Barbados. While I do think that there's something suspicious about Venti's relationship with the God of Time, I want to put that on hold for a bit. Before I get back to that, I have a new idea of who the God of Time could be. Paimon is an excellent candidate for the God of Time. I don't remember if I've ever mentioned this in a video, but I've been wondering if she is for a long time now. I just didn't have any evidence to back it up then. But let's look at how we met Paimon. We fished her out of an undisclosed body of water 2 months before the events of the game. We don't know exactly where the body of water was, but I think it's safe to assume it's in Mondstadt because we start there. We start the game on the east coast of Mondstadt, which also happens to be where the Nameless Island is. In the background of that scene, you can literally see Paimon floating right in front of the Nameless Island in the distance. Since it's so hard to tell where in Mondstadt that body of water came from, I feel okay assuming that we fished her out of the same ocean that we start the game next to. And I don't think that's a coincidence. The game could have started anywhere in Mondstadt besides the main city or Storm Terror's lair, but they chose to begin with the Nameless Island in the background. That's all very circumstantial though. Luckily for you, I have much stronger evidence to prove that Paimon is the God of Time. Remember how all gods in Genshin are named after the 72 demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon? Paimon isn't confirmed to be a god, but she's definitely named after one of those demons. In Christian demonology, Paimon is a demon king. Paimon is one of the more powerful and popular demons in the list. He has a lot of powers and characteristics that relate to our Paimon, so I'll list those. He can survive underwater indefinitely, like how our Paimon survived underwater for whatever amount of time until we fished her out. He has the power of flight. He's almost always depicted wearing a crown. He speaks in an unfamiliar manner, and he's known for clearing up doubts and knows all affairs of the world, like how our Paimon is our guide to Teyvat. So our Paimon is already pretty similar to the demon Paimon, but it doesn't end there. If we believe that Paimon is the God of Time, then there's even more parallels. Demon King Paimon has knowledge of past and future events, both aspects of time. He has vast knowledge of water and wind. Water relates to the Nameless Island's nature of literally being an island, and wind relates to the God of Time's past partnership with the Anemo Archon. He was a former angel. The God of Time was once associated with Barbados, a powerful and influential god, but now they're nowhere to be found. I want to rescind what I said about Venti being the God of Time. Now that I've looked more into the possibility of it being Paimon, I'm 99% convinced that it's her. But that's not even what this video is really about. What I want to talk about is Venti's relationship with the God of Time and what it really means about his character. Early in Mondstadt's history, Barbados became the Anemo Archon. Unlike the other Archons, he was not the country's sole god. Barbados shared control of Mondstadt with the God of Time, but some time ago the God of Time vanished. No one seems to know that they ever existed in the first place. For comparison, before Guizhong died, she was going to share control of Liyue with Morax, but it's not like she randomly disappeared. We know exactly what happened to her. We have plenty of proof that she was here in the first place and that other people besides Zhongli know about her. The situation with the God of Time is completely different and much more suspicious. The only thing left of them is the sundials, one near the Thousand Winds Temple and the other on the Nameless Island. And that's literally all we know about the God of Time. We know that they were important and well known a long time ago, but have since disappeared and been forgotten by everyone in Teyvat. Since we know nothing else about them, I'd like to propose a story. Barbados and the God of Time, hereby referred to as Paimon, shared control of Mondstadt. Barbados was always the god of freedom and Animo Archon, but still shared Mondstadt with Paimon, like how Zhongli has always been the god of contracts and Geo Archon, but shared Liyue with Guizhong, the god of dust. Some rift must have formed between Barbados and Paimon that caused them to terminate their partnership. I assumed the one to cause the shift in their relationship would be Barbados, considering Paimon's fate. Barbados banished Paimon to the Nameless Island, not knowing that she also has the power of flight and can survive underwater. Since the Nameless Island is unmarked on Mondstadt's map, we can assume that Barbados erased all traces of the God of Time's existence from history, including what he believed to be her final resting place. After undergoing the severe trauma of losing her power, title, and best friend, Paimon did what Marcosius did to become Guoba.
His power expended, and his wits greatly reduced. Thus his body decreased in size. By the time he parted ways with us, he wasn't even the height of a human. He told Rex Lapis and I of the dishes that bring joy and of the secrets of the flame, then went into the mountains and entered into a long slumber.
She traded the majority of her powers and memories for happiness. During that process, Guoba was asleep for a long time. Paimon must have been asleep on the Nameless Island for a while. Sea levels can fluctuate quite a bit over such a long period of time, and given that Mondstadt was once the nation of storms, it wouldn't be unreasonable to say that while she was asleep, Paimon was swept into the ocean. Hundreds, if not thousands of years later, the traveler fished her out of the sea east of Mondstadt and near the Nameless Island. Guoba didn't retain all of his memories of being Marcosius, but he is still able to recognize certain people who were important in that phase of his life. He recognizes Zhongli as Rex Lapis at the end of the Moon Chase event story.
Oh, it's you. Hello there, old friend.
Paimon may be experiencing something similar with Venti. The two of them don't get along from the start, often mocking each other and giving one another mean nicknames.
Hey, so Paimon thinks this guy has a screw loose. Paimon doesn't believe we need to explain any further. Of course it's about Storm Terror!
Storm?
Hey, cut it with the Amnesia Act! And you! Did you just borrow the Holy Lyre to play music for drunkards to hear? What do you mean?
Let me come up with a song for you.
Is that all you're going to do? Just sing? You deserve an ugly nickname. Maybe someone got a little too free and is just too lazy to care. It's stuck.
It's stuck.
Although she may not remember exactly who Barbados was to her, Paimon still feels that same resentment towards him, whether she knows it or not. Venti avoids confronting her about it because he probably knows exactly what happened and he doesn't want to cause any more problems now. I don't think Venti stays quiet for the sake of anyone but himself. My theory on Paimon's identity as the god of time is still quite underdeveloped. I think it's highly plausible, but there isn't a ton of evidence to back it up. But what I do know is that Venti is clearly in the wrong here regardless of whether or not the god of time is Paimon. And it's not like Venti has shown himself to be a trustworthy or kind character. He abandoned the god of time, lied to Barbara about the Holy Lyre, stole from Diluc, didn't interfere when Mondstadt's people exiled Signora even though her actions were born out of grief and she didn't hurt anybody, and just generally ignores most of his people's problems to the point where a lot of them don't even think he exists. If it were just one bad thing, I would be willing to overlook it as a single mistake. But Venti has a pattern of doing this kind of stuff. He's done nice things like dismantle the aristocracy and save Dvalin, but that doesn't undo all the bad stuff he's done. The other Archons have made bad choices too, but none as frequent as Venti, and all of them with their people's best interest in mind. Zhongli unleashed Ocile, who could have put Liyue in danger, but if they didn't quell the threat on their own, he would interfere. The whole point was to prove to himself that Liyue's people didn't need him anymore, which is a good thing for both parties. A started the Vision Hunt Decree and ruined a lot of people's lives with it, but that was because her puppet of the Raiden Shogun listened to the Fatui. The Vision Hunt Decree wasn't even her idea in the first place. If she had been outside of the plane of Euthymia, it probably wouldn't have happened. At the end of the Inazuma Archon quest, she makes sure that everyone who had their vision seized gets it back. The Tsaritsa formed the Fatui, a dangerous international crime organization, but she did so to challenge Celestia, which is not only good for her and the people of Snezhnaya, but everyone else in Teyvat too. Venti's laissez-faire treatment of his country can come off as just and helpful, but more often than not, it causes trouble. Dvalin's corruption, the formation of the aristocracy, and Signora's exile wouldn't have happened if Venti paid attention to Mondstadt. Instead, he prefers to ignore everything important that happens around him in favor of singing inconsequential songs and stealing alcohol. Venti only helps in absolutely dire situations, likely because he's afraid that his people will completely stop believing in his existence like the god of time. Venti is selfish. That selfishness is not a new quality either. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why Barbados would banish Paimon from Mondstadt when I was explaining that theory. I think it happened because that's just how Venti is. He's selfish and didn't want to share control of Mondstadt with her anymore. He kicked her out and assumed she would die on the Nameless Island just because he felt like it.
Mondstadt began anew. The story passed down. And since then, never has another worn its crown.
Venti often acts recklessly. He rarely, if ever, thinks before he acts. Everything is on a whim when it comes to his choices, and when he chose to kick Paimon out, he didn't think about it and didn't look back. Again, this is exclusive to Venti. At the beginning of the video, I gave a list of instances where Venti differs from the other Archons. His values are included in that. The other Archons care about their people, but Venti really doesn't. Venti cares about himself. As to why the Abyss Order disproportionately targets Venti, that could have something to do with Khaenri'ah and the Cataclysm. During the Cataclysm, you could probably tell that the other Archons felt regret for what they were being forced to participate in. A's sister died in her arms, the Dendro Archon died doing something they didn't want to do surrounded by their closest friends, and the Tsaritsa was so affected by the Cataclysm that it changed her forever. The other Archons were traumatized by what happened in Khaenri'ah 500 years ago, and I have a feeling that the Khaenri'an survivors can tell. There were losses on both sides of the battle. Yet the Abyss Order, aka the remaining Khaenri'ans, choose to specifically target Venti rather than the other Archons. Venti must have either willingly participated in the fight or he showed no remorse. I can't think of another reason why the Abyss Order would go after specifically Barbados so hard. And I'm not saying that Venti is entirely a bad person or that he's Genshin's main villain, I'm just saying that he's not as innocent or kind as we typically perceive him to be. I still think Venti's side of the story hasn't really been told when it comes to all of this stuff though, so until that happens, don't take any of this too seriously unless it really resonates with you. So the gameplay I'm using for this video isn't proof, but I did get Albedo. I didn't think I was gonna get him because I just got C1 Hu Tao, but after $55 and winning 50-50 for the third time in a row, I got him. I already had Eula, so I didn't need to pull for her at all, but I do recommend pulling for both of them if you have the opportunity. They're both great characters in lore and gameplay. Good luck to everyone pulling for Itto and Goro next. My friend is really dedicated to getting Itto, and I need her to get him or else she'll probably cry, so everyone please manifest Itto for her. And as always, let me know who you're pulling for and I'll wish you good luck. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye, besties!